Good things come to those who wait.
Greetings, guests. Welcome to The Patriarchy, where we explore cinema classics fueled by predictive Hollywood programming and unpack how our favorite characters in cinema got egg all over their faces. I am your commentator, Dom, and tonight we're unpacking the tragedy of the starter wife. So, you've got the ring, walked down the aisle, said your I do's in front of hundreds of your closest family and friends. You're a wife now, and not just any kind of wife, but a dutiful one who goes to bat for her man. You're his encouragement, his biggest cheerleader, his therapist, his muse, the bearer and caretaker of his children, his ego stroker, his and so much more. And then a few, or maybe several, years into it, once you've inspired and helped catapult your husband into becoming his greatest self, at the peak of it all comes crashing down. But why? The easy answer? He's found someone better.
I felt horrible. 3 days later, I filed for a divorce and moved Naomi into the apartment.
You're old, stale, predictable. She's new, fresher, younger, hotter. And just like that, you've now become a part of that percentage of women who unceremoniously found themselves to be the starter wife. Let's examine a few characteristics of the starter wife in a few classic films. Then we'll take a look at the characteristics of their replacement. And finally, we'll conclude by discussing whether or not the replacement really got a prize or was it just fool's gold. The starter wives all have similar character traits. She's a wholesome woman. She believes herself to be a true partner within the union. She's helpful, hopeful, typically carries the relationship, and often the one who makes the effort and puts in the work for both parties.
Mike, I want us to work.
And furthermore, she's also sadly very naive and keeps herself in the dark about the growing distance between herself and her husband, and the disdain that he has towards her. In The Wolf of Wall Street, Teresa encourages Jordan to keep going and pushing towards his dream of becoming a stockbroker, even at a time when that dream was looking bleak and he was ready to give up.
We could pawn my engagement ring if we needed to. Because I don't mind.
Electronics or stock boy, what do you think?
You're not going to work at that place.
Yeah, but you start off.
Jordan, you're going to be miserable at that place if you go there.
It's sales. You work
Jordan,
your way up. You be a general manager.
You're not going to be a stock boy.
Why not?
Because you're a stockbroker.
And Why Did I Get Married? Sheila is the one who continues to try and reignite the spark between her and her husband at her own expense of constantly being humiliated and rejected by him.
I love you. I've always loved you. What do I have to do to make it work?
Well, you could lose about 50 pounds. Then I might be somewhat attracted to you.
And the founder, Ray Kroc's first wife, Ethel, stands up for Ray when his friends start to taunt him about his latest business venture, the McDonald's franchises, and works with him to try and bring on board new franchisees. In each situation, these wives put their husbands' needs above their own, and they all have blinders on and are oblivious to the fact that their husbands are about to drop them for the new girl. And who's the new girl? Aside from being polar opposite in looks, their character traits are opposite as well. I suppose what attracts the wayward husband to the new girl is the mystery, but the overarching theme is that these women are not pushovers. For the most part, they show up as beautiful props with no fucks to give about being anything more than just that. They don't cook, they don't clean, they don't quote unquote audition to show that they are worthy of being a wife by playing into the played out performative traditional gender roles. And Why Did I Get Married on the couples retreat, when the wives asked Trina to come into the kitchen to help them get started on dinner, Trina immediately rejects this idea, laughing it off by saying, "No, I do not cook. I'm just going to hang back here with the guys." In The Wolf of Wall Street, once Naomi moved in with Jordan, she outsourced all of the domestic duties using his money and just played the part of the trophy wife who immersed herself in doing whatever she wanted on his dime.
Greek tragedy, honey, oh my God! You probably had to pay them in cash with your hands, what a fucking burden! And actually do some work besides swiping my fucking credit card all day, huh? Because I can't keep track of your professions, honey. Because last month you were a wine connoisseur, now you're an aspiring landscape architect.
These women do not care. They don't audition, they don't play pick me, and the man has to either take it or leave it. In The Founder, Joan does have some business acumen, and this is what attracts Ray secondary to her looks. But she is not meek, nor is she a doormat like how his first wife, Ethel, is portrayed, and was actually already married when Ray Kroc was pursuing her and left her husband for that whale. In all cases, the men take the bait and toss aside their first wives for a quote-unquote upgrade. And these women may think that they've caught a prize in taking someone else's husband, but did they though?
Initially, when I met my ex-husband, the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, we fell madly in love. I was a 22-year-old girl. I was a babe in the woods. I was naive. And he would buy me clothes and give me money and shower me with gifts. But then it was almost like once I was sucked into this world, intimidation, coercion, threats, he would have a ferocious temper like a tsunami and just abuse me and beat me down. And then his drug addiction became so apparent. On the outside looked like Shangri-La, but on the inside I was literally living in a war zone.
We can't go on without mentioning that these women do not stick around in hard times. Once Jordan in The Wolf of Wall Street got arrested, Naomi left. When Mike was undergoing chemo in the sequel of Why Did I Get Married 2, is Trina still around? No, but Sheila is. The exception to this is Joan and Ray, and this is because Ray never fell on hard times after taking over McDonald's. Joan and Ray remained together until he passed, but Ray also remained CEO of the mega fast food corporation until he retired. And in his retirement, he owned a Major League Baseball team until he eventually passed away. So Joan inherited Ray's McDonald's fortune. She had no reason to leave. She wasn't there for the tough times. And we can't predict how things would have unfolded in The Wolf of Wall Street, but I think that Teresa would have stuck by Jordan's side while he was under investigation. But we'll never know because he left her for someone who wasn't nearly as loyal. I'll wrap this up by saying there is a lot of commentary online about men thinking that all women are selfish. And if you marry her, she'll take all of your money and leave you in hard times. That it's not for better or for worse anymore. But these are the women that they are talking about. These are the women that they choose. And not only do they choose these women, but they actually make conscious decisions to leave their loyal wives for this. So don't listen to them. It's the bed of their making and they should lie in it. So if you've made it to the end, I want to thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts and comments about the starter wife concept below and who you think is the type of man that would fall susceptible to this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more. Signing off now, your friend, Dom.